Hi, everyone. I am Fynn Grindle with the Stormy Petrel newspaper at Oglethorpe University. I am here today with Jennifer English, the face and actor for Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3. First off, congratulations on being a BAFTA breakthrough. That's
Thank you very much.
amazing. Yeah. Have you been to Anime Week in Atlanta before?
No, never. This is my second time in Atlanta, though.
Oh.
And when we were invited back, we were like, hell yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Love it.
Yes. I know you went to Dragon Con.
Yeah.
So was that your first time in Atlanta?
Yeah, it was.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah.
We saw you there.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to focus a little bit more on the kind of overlap of the queer community and the creative experience, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, of course.
That's something that I'm super interested in, so I would absolutely love to. Perfect.
Great.
Worked out great. So just first off, I guess, why do you think there is such an overlap between Baldur's Gate 3 and other like player insert games and the queer community?
I think because to play Baldur's Gate 3, you have to have, because it's Dungeons and Dragons, you have to have a certain intelligence and a certain level of creativity. And I feel, I don't know, that there's a lot of the queer community that is, I think, to be queer and you have a kind of a different kind of brain anyway. You know what I mean? You've got a creative brain because you have to live as a brave individual.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? I feel that like creates a certain type of person.
Yeah.
And so and also I think the way that Larian created the game, it was incredibly inclusive. We re-recorded all of the lines with instances of player pronouns.
Yes.
So we and that must have cost them thousands. Yeah. So it like probably tens, I don't know how much, but a lot. And so I think it kind of started out as a very inclusive game, and I think there's not enough representation out there yet in the gaming community. We've still got a really long way to go. And so I think obviously as soon as you get a really beautiful inclusive game that is going to attract the queer community, but we need more of that. This needs to be like baseline level for every game.
Absolutely. I will say, especially as someone who uses they them pronouns, the inclusion of like and the choice of getting to pick they them pronouns as your tab it was so fun. It was just, it made my heart warm. So
I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah,
I'm glad. So to me, Shadowheart's like evolution and development with her identity and her understanding of herself parallels some people's experiences with unearthing their own queer identity. What do you think about this?
Well, including mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, you know, like many, if not most of us, like it's something that I've had to kind of reckon with. Like it's not been an easy journey for me with my queerness. And so it was something that I really, really related to. And therefore I put a lot of myself into it. And hopefully that, I mean, that's why I think there's big conversations to be had about authenticity and authentic representation. But I know for me as a queer person, it means so much more when you find out that the actor playing the role is queer themselves, because you just bring that layer of truth to it. Yeah. And so I was really aware of that, and I was really aware of that in the story. Yeah. And John did a beautiful job. And considering he's, you know, I hope he doesn't make like he's not queer. He's you know, like he's not who you expect Shadowheart's rated to be, but he just unearthed something so beautifully. It's like sympathetic and genuine, and so I'm really grateful. But yeah, it's I think it really does speak to a lot of people for a very good reason.
So over the course of the production of Baldur's Gate 3, many years, would you say that kind of your identity had evolved alongside Shadowheart's identity?
Absolutely did. Yeah. And, you know, I was lucky in that I got to fall in love with my performance director. And yeah, so that and me coming to terms with realizing that I am lesbian. And so so I think, I mean, it was over the pandemic. Like we all changed a lot, like the world changed. Yeah. And so I think therefore everyone that kind of worked on Baldur's Gate 3 will have had some kind of evolution. And I think that comes across in the writing and like the creation of it, I feel like people put a different level of like a different energy into the game as a result.
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder if the game was made outside of that time period, would it be the same game?
Right, absolutely.
It's interesting. What happens to art when you have a global pandemic?
Exactly. For better or for worse.
Yeah.
So to me, Shadowheart's kind of story is very trans-coded. So
Agreed.
kind of the whole of like shedding an old identity and name for a new one. Even though she herself isn't trans, how important is it, do you think, for players to be able to see themselves in parts of the narrative, even if it's not a part of the major narrative?
I think that's the kind of point of it. Yeah. And the point of this game is that you do find yourself in it, and it's not the writer's story, it's not the actor's story, it's the player's story. You create that, and but the trans allegory was totally something that I was aware of, and the inclusion of Nocturne, and you know, the like even the detail of like the diary. I don't know if you've seen that, and you find out that the Shadowheart punches transphobes.
Yeah,
and you're like,
we love that. We love that.
Sorry, excuse me.
No, you're good.
Yeah, it's like, and that's something that I want. I mean, trans rights is something so dear to my heart, and I think is vital. And I don't understand why it's not more vital to more people.
Right.
It makes me really fucking cross. But yeah, and it's something that I want to kind of encourage. Like we've got like a big, especially like the community that follows Shadowheart, but also Aliona and myself. Like there's a huge like trans following that we've got, and I feel very responsible for that, and I really want to work with more trans creatives and more queer creators in general. And we need to be telling more of those stories. And like I watched have you seen I Saw the TV Glow? Yes. Saw that on the plane, and I was like, more of this, please. So I'm not seeing enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's something that I think developers need to, and future developers need to take note of and explore more of.
Like we've come so far, but there's always more work to do. Yeah. So in the future, what are some kind of roles that you're really looking into, hopefully getting into?
I love to do, I mean, I'm kind of very wary of going, I want to play this kind of part and that kind of part, because I think that kind of like stops the universe from surprising me. And that's like, I would never have expected for any of this to happen. I didn't expect to go into video games. I didn't expect to play a main part in a video game. I think in general, it's just about exploring all depths of the human or not human, as most games maybe, psyche. But like I'd like to do more TV and film, and I think we need to do more. I mean, the dream really is to combine that space. Yeah. Like I feel like we're getting there with shows like Fallout and Last of Us, but I feel like games audiences are really special and really important, and I feel like we need to honor them across all media, and I feel like we need to work together so that like there's like generations of creatives in games that are being overlooked outside of games, and I feel like there's so much more respect to be had for that beautiful writing and art and acting. So yeah, like more collaboration, I think, is the way forward.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Just question for funsies at the end. So you can answer this as either Shadowheart or yourself. Kiss, marry, kill the origin characters.
Okay.
Oh, thought about this.
As Shadowheart?
Yes.
Kiss, marry, kill, Lae'zel, all three.
That's a valid answer.
You know what I mean, though.
That's a valid answer.
No, I think Karlach has got to be in there.
Yeah.
I feel like Astarion's like gay best friend.
Oh, perfect. Absolutely.
And Gale, no. Although I do think Gale and Shadowheart would live happily ever after. Yeah. Like the cottagecore side.
Oh, yeah.
For me, though, kiss Lae'zel, marry Karlach, kill Astarion. Sorry, babe.
Sometimes it has to happen.
Sorry, Neil.